Well, welcome everyone. Appreciate you joining us for this really interesting topic. I know a lot of people are really interested. There's a lot of anxiety about the new FDA traceability rule. So definitely thank you for joining us, and we will go ahead and get started. But we start all these webinars off. Just wanted to remind you that all of our webinars are freely accessible on our website. It's our YouTube channel, and that address is right up there on the screen in front of you. And if you'd like to check out our other webinars that we have scheduled, please feel free to get out your camera and take a quick picture of this QR code, because that will tell you exactly, it'll send you right to the site to sign up for future webinars. So without delay, let's go ahead and start. I'm Wendy White. I'm leading today's webinar. Prior to joining Georgia Tech about 7 years ago, I spent about 17 years in the food manufacturing industry, so have a lot of experience dealing with the kinds of challenges that all of you are dealing with right now. So today we are going to go through the FDA's new food traceability rule. We're going to talk about who has to comply and who doesn't, because not all food and beverage companies have to comply. So I'll really list that out for you so you understand that. We're going to talk about the food traceability list that actually directly relates to that compliance, what you need to do if you have to comply, and then the documentation that's required. So really quickly, just to start things off, why do we need this rule? Well, in recent years, we've had a tremendous amount of new outbreaks, and they've kind of been associated with the same foods over and over and over again. And a lot of these have been produce items, which is extremely hard for the FDA and the CDC to track. This chart up here, it's a little bit of an eyesore, but it just kind of gives you an idea. This was a leafy green outbreak. And you can see the first illness showed up on March 13th, and they actually did not figure out where the problem was coming from until about over a month later, which in the traceability world is a really, really long time. And so in that month time, before they were able to get that implicated product out of supermarket shelves, more and more and more and more people were getting sick. And so that's why traceability is so important. All right. So I just wanted to start off by introducing y'all to the Food Traceability List. And the reason why this list is so important are basically these are the food items. If you're making these items, you will have to comply with this rule. And so we're talking about cheeses, mostly soft cheeses, shell eggs, nut butters, not just peanut butter, but all nut butters, and several fresh produce items, a couple seafood items, and then deli ready-to-eat meats. And so these are items that are often implicated. Even items, formulated items that contain these products will probably have to comply with this rule. Okay, so the big question is, do I need to comply? And again, this is insanely busy slide. I understand that, but if you want to look at the recording, go back through and read all this thing, that's kind of why I made it a little bit busy. The FDA has a really nice flow chart. It's a series of questions that helps you understand if your company has to comply with this rule or not. And the website up there is at the top of the page. So basically, people that are exempt, if you're on the list, if you're not on the list, you don't have to worry about it. Now, if you make a product with something on the list, you might have to worry about it. But this will help you kind of take a deeper dive. One thing that is exempt is very small egg farms. So if you're in very small egg companies and very small farms. So if your farm makes less than $25,000 a year, or you're an egg producer and you produce less than 3,000 hens, you have less than 3,000 laying hens, you don't have to comply with this rule. Another thing that is exempt is processed raw mollusk and shellfish, because remember that was on the list. Also, if you're a retail store or a restaurant, you do have to comply with this unless you're under $250,000 in sales a year. Or if you buy directly from a farm, or if your supplier or you has applied a kill step to that product. So if you're cooking it, you do not have to comply. Now, this is for restaurants and retail stores only. If you're looking at produce, if you are producing a produce product that is going through a kill step, then you don't have to worry about it, even if it's on that food traceability list that I just showed you. Another thing that is exempt are produce items that are almost always cooked before they're consumed. So things like squash, not many people are eating raw squash, so that wouldn't be on the list, even though fruit and produce items are on that FTL list. All USDA products, that's meat products, are not, they don't have to comply with this rule. If you just are transporting, you don't have to worry about it, or if you're a nonprofit. And so this is kind of a comprehensive list of, even if you're on the list, you do not have to comply if you meet these criteria. But I would highly recommend that you go to that FDA link that's up on the top of this slide so that you can go through the questions yourself and really make sure you know if you have to become compliant or not. All right, so what happens if you fall into this list and you're going to have to worry about this? Well, the FDA is going to require that you have traceability capabilities, one up and one down. And so that means that you have to know exactly who you're buying the product from and then who you're directly selling it to. For instance, if you were this middle square right here, you would have, and you were receiving product, you would have to know who you're buying the product from. So you can see kind of, if you trace the little blue lines, you can see that it came from those 4 places. And then also, we sent our product to 2 different customers, which you can see circled there on your right, and you have to know that as well. So you have to know where your raw materials coming from and also your direct customers. Now, you do not have to worry about where your supplier got the product from, or if your customer sold to other customers. Like if you're selling to a retail store or you're selling to a warehouser, that ends your traceability requirements. They are the ones that have to deal with who they sold the product to. All right, so a little bit more detail about this food traceability rule. It introduces some new terms. Want to make sure everybody is aware of them. Critical tracking events. These are events, steps in your process that are critical to traceability. So things like harvesting, cooling, packing for produce items, receiving, shipping, production for manufacturing facilities. Also, another term is key data elements. So these KDEs are pieces of information that are vital to traceability, documents especially. So it's things like bill of lading, lot codes, things like that. The amount that you received, the amount you shipped out. These are the data elements that are vital to traceability. And also, of course, the lot code. Hard to do traceability without the lot code. So basically, the FDA wants you to be able to link these key data elements to the critical tracking events in which they're generated so that you can do that one up, one down traceability. And the most important thing is you have to have records of this information. So let's take a little bit closer look. Again, I know that this is a little bit of a crazy picture, but I really wanted to show you exactly what the FDA is going to require. So basically, the FDA is not going to require you provide them anything unless there's an issue. So if they suspect that there's an outbreak and they're trying to do some tracing, even if at the end of the day your product's not implicated, they still might ask you to trace if it's suspect. So what they'll ask of you is that you provide them with a sortable spreadsheet, so like Excel or some other spreadsheet program, within 24 hours. and they want the critical tracking events linked to your raw materials. So you need to have information about maybe your supplier's bill of lading, whatever comes in with the paperwork, receiving records, what have you, your process information, batch sheets, lot numbers, things like that, and then where that product went to, your customer information. So that might be your bill of lading or your invoice, the customer PO, the shipping record, whatever accompanied that product to your customer. And so you can kind of see here how they've done this is they have demonstrated where the lot number goes onto the spreadsheet, and they've pulled all this other information from some of these documents like sales orders or bill of ladings, or the box label with the lot code. All right, so it's not necessarily a comprehensive rule. It's fairly simple, but we do know that traceability is one of the hardest things, especially for manufacturers that have highly formulated products with a lot of different ingredients and a lot of different suppliers. So there's some great resources for you. The FDA has a Food Traceability Rule website that has some guidance documents. And there's a frequently asked questions website. I've gone to this before and it's very, very helpful. And I think you should be able to take out your cameras and click on this QR code, and it'll take you directly to those FDA sites. But you can always put in FDA traceability rule in your internet search, and you should be able to find these very, very easily. So just in summary, the name of the regulation is the FDA FSMA Food Traceability Rule 204. So if you hear that, it's very important. That's actually the regulation. People that have to comply are people that make foods that are on that food traceability list that we showed you in the beginning of the webinar. And basically what the FDA wants you to do is be able to link critical tracking events or important steps in your process important to traceability to documents and information that are vital to traceability. And then also you would have to provide them with a sortable spreadsheet with all of that information. Now, it's really important to note that compliance is a little bit different. Usually with these FDA rules, they kind of roll it out and the bigger companies have to comply first and then the smallers and so forth. But because of the nature of supply chain, the FDA decided that everybody was going to have to comply at the same time, small companies, medium, large companies, and that date has been extended to July 20th, 2028. So that sounds like a really long time away, but you will be surprised how quickly it comes. It's really only, about 2 years away. And so when you talk about traceability, it really is, you need a lot of time to sort this out. All right, so we're at the end of the slides. If you need to reach out to me, if you ever want to talk about traceability or get some ideas on some other resources, you're welcome to contact me. That is my virtual business card with my email and my phone number. You're welcome to scan that and contact me at any point. If you enjoyed this webinar, please keep in touch with us. We have a couple different newsletters. The one on the right, of course, is my favorite. It's the Food and Beverage Quarterly Newsletter. Oops, excuse me. Let me go back to that. We also have a monthly Manufacturing Connect newsletter. That's the Georgia MEP newsletter. And our sister department, the Safe Health and Environmental Services, they have a quarterly newsletter called Safety Buzz, and that's for worker safety type of things. Before we take questions, I just wanted to give you a quick review of who we are. So the Georgia Manufacturing Extension Partnership is the extension branch of Georgia Tech. So we're a statewide organization whose mission is to help Georgia manufacturers thrive and increase their business. So some of the things we do, of course, most importantly, food safety and quality. But we also do a lot of other things. I mentioned our sister department does worker safety, but we do human resources, leadership, strategy, sustainability, and energy services. Everything from plant layout to automation, cybersecurity, and everything in between. So if you're interested in any of those, or you need to figure out if you have a need, or you're looking for a resource, we're excellent at connecting people with resources, even outside of the university. So you're welcome to scan that QR code, and it'll take you to the regional manager page, who are the Georgia MEP employees all across the state that can really help you in your specific area. And you're always welcome to reach out to me as well. So again, I talked about the SHE's group. That's the worker safety, or if you want to learn more about how you can comply with OSHA regulations. And we also have, oh, pardon me, I don't know what happened there. We also have CTAC, which is the company that can help if you are having export issues. Ooh, okay. There we go. And so if you had any questions about any of those, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.